Town Sports.
11:30. You know what that means, as we have been telling y'all and making sure that you know what was coming, and he is here. Jack Dann, sports editor for the State Hornet of Sac State. Jack, I know you're running around. You're out there in D.C., so we really appreciate you taking the time on a Friday, man. Happy Friday. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Allen. How about you? I'm happy to do it.
So what you doing, if you don't mind me asking, what you doing out there in D.C.? Because I looked up the Sac State. They got a home game. So you just chilling? You're on vacation?
No, I'm not on vacation, unfortunately. I'm sad I'm missing the game, but I'm at a journalism conference with the rest of the State Hornet, the editorial staff. We're up here, going to workshops, listening to keynote speakers, preparing our craft, getting better, getting reps in.
See, man,
ready for the future coverage.
See, man, that's what I'm talking about. Grinding tape, grinding film. I keep telling people the kids are all right. And it all starts with you, Jack, all the great stuff that you're doing. If you don't follow Jack on TikTok, you are missing out, because he's got a lot of great Kings info, as well as on X, of course. And Jack, I love talking to you over social media, but this is long overdue, because we don't always see eye to eye the way that we view the game. And I think that's healthy when we have our back and forths. And I don't know if this was one of our back and forths specifically, but just how passionate you were about Isaiah Crawford, and when the Kings decided to move on from him. I saw people tagging you last night when he had that huge game for the Rockets, and you were the first person I thought of when I saw what he did, because, Jack, I'm thinking, okay, he must have done this against, some guys on the Hawks that probably won't be playing, more of a summer league thing. Jack, he's playing with the second stringers from the Rockets, and basically the Atlanta Hawks minus Dyson Daniels and maybe one other guy. Why would the Kings decide not to keep Isaiah Crawford and keep bringing in dudes that are closer to my age than your age? Why do they keep doing that, Jack?
I mean, he had plenty of struggles with the Kings, but at the end of the day, the reason why I was such a big fan of him coming out of college, and such a big fan of the Kings picking him up, is that I think you and I can both attest to this. It's the hardest thing to get in the NBA are these long, versatile wings that can play defense, they can shoot the ball. And that's exactly what Isaiah Crawford is. And it's always a real shame to see one of these guys go out the door. Now, Isaiah's not the youngest guy in the world. He's been playing college basketball for a while, but that's good. That's a good thing. He's got poise. He understands the little things. He really knows how to play the game. When you watch that game last night, it was, relocation threes, anticipation defense. It's really professional, high-level stuff that you saw from him.
Talking to Jack Dann, sports editor for the State Hornet. You're also doing stuff, Jack, as I said, as I saw with Play Vision AI, and that's some great work. You guys are cooking up a lot of different equations and ways to look at the game in certain ways that us unks never looked at the game, Jack. Let's go here. Speaking of unks, what were your first thoughts? I know we were all waiting for it and knew it was coming, but what are your thoughts on the Russell Westbrook signing? Are you on the side of everybody that was upset that called into my show throughout the week? I personally saw it coming. And it's a non-guaranteed contract, and I don't really have a high ceiling on this team anyway, so it didn't bother me. But what did you think, Jack?
I mean, first off, Allen, that was a fantastic segue there. But Russell Westbrook, Russell Westbrook, I think I'm probably not as critical about that signing as most people. Mm-hmm. I think like you, I saw this coming. I was a little surprised that this happened when we still, when Malik Monk is still on the roster. I feel like those two guys bring you a lot of the same things on offense. They're kind of like chaos playmakers, real energy guys. But there is a role for Russell Westbrook on this Kings team. But is it what the Kings needed? I'm not necessarily sure, right? You're losing Keegan Murray, and your response to that is to bring in another guard. I understand the merits of Westbrook as a player, and I think there is plenty of value he can provide. But I'm a little bit skeptical about how much we really needed that kind of player.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing as we were playing Scott Perry's interview as far as what he wants to see or what he thinks that Russell Westbrook is going to bring to the table, if Dennis Schroeder goes down, but Dennis Schroeder didn't go down. Keegan Murray went down, and we don't really have anybody for that position. Talking to Jack Dann, sports editor for the State Hornet, also doing great work with Play Vision AI, building the future of sports analytics. Be sure to join their newsletter for updates. Jack, let's go here now. How do the Kings salvage this season if possible? And the way you can think about it, I guess, in a different capacity is, what would you do if you woke up Freaky Friday and you were Scott Perry? What would you do to move forward with this current roster?
I mean, the Western Conference is going to be really tough this year. There's a lot of great teams out there, and I think the goal, or at least my goal for this season, would be, if I was in the Freaky Friday situation with Scott Perry, I think it'd just be to, see what you've got with these young guys. You took Nick Clifford and Maxime Renaud in the draft. These are guys with a lot of interesting tools, a lot of they're both guys that fit the build of the modern NBA. And I really want to make sure you see what these guys have, play them with the starters. I think Domantas Sabonis is a fantastic guy in terms of elevating players, building up their floors. And I think playing him with those guys a lot, trying double big stuff, just making sure you see what you have in the young guys. Well, playing your games, playing your brand of basketball. If it doesn't end up working out that well, you've got your first-round pick. I think prioritizing, seeing what you've got in the younger core is really important this season.
Well, Jack, with that younger core, Keon isn't the youngest guy on the team, even though nobody is terribly young on that Kings roster. That is something that we went back and forth with as far as Keon for Kuminga. My thought process now, Jack, is because you picked up that option, he could hit unrestricted free agency. It's still bizarre to me that they kept him untouchable in Kuminga talks, because there is a world where they lose him in unrestricted free agency. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully they come to an agreement to an extension in February when they're able to do so. But give me your take on Keon and how they decided to go about this. And like I said, we went back and forth about the Kuminga thing, but I don't know. It just feels like this became more complicated than it needed to be. And again, it was all in the name of bringing in Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, I mean, if it was still the Freaky Friday situation that you laid out, I think Keon Ellis would be holding on to an extension right now. Mm-hmm. But you and I did talk quite a bit about the Keon for Kuminga stuff, and I think it does make a lot of sense. It's hey, listen, we're going to lose this guy for nothing. We might as well get some value out of it. But it's so hard to envision letting someone like that go, like Keon go, because like I said earlier, the hardest thing in the NBA to find, obviously, finding the 1A franchise caliber guy is very difficult. But just below that, I'd say it's finding these perfect glue guys that can do a little bit of everything on defense, guys that can shoot it. And that's really what Keon is. He's an undrafted free agent. You've brought him up through the program. He's really shined under under the tutelage of your coaches. That's the kind of guy that I would really love to keep in house. But I mean, I understand it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough this year with him. I think the priority above all, outside of the basketball, should be to try and figure out a way to make some kind of extension happen. You can still do it.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, and we'll keep an eye on this, we know going back to the Mike Brown doghouse stuff with Keon, the numbers for Keon, these minutes, these last couple games haven't been outstanding. It's not a doghouse situation. It's just a logjam now. So we'll see what happens there. Jack, I know you're at that conference, so we really appreciate you taking the time. Before we get you out of here, we obviously got to talk a little bit Stingers up and how the Sac State football team is doing. Speaking of Gen Z, I mean, they got streamers on. They're offering scholarships to streamers. They got all this stuff going on. Give me a breakdown of how Sac State football has done and a little preview about what you're excited. I saw a quote about Mikey Williams trying to get ready for the NBA. Obviously, the Mike Bibby coaching experience is about to begin there. Give me a lay of the land on the Sac State of it all. And a bonus as well, I also need your thoughts on a football stadium on or off campus. And then we'll let you get back to the conference, Jack.
I mean, hey, listen, Sac State keeps me busy. There is just there's new information, there's new announcements coming at me every day. The football team is the main thing that I cover. I've got a fantastic co-editor, Chris, who handles most of the basketball stuff. Mm-hmm. The football team has been a real joy to watch this season. Obviously, there's been ups and downs to 3-3. It's probably not the start they wanted, but they play a really exciting and pretty defined. They've got a very strong sense of identity when it comes to football. They want to run the ball. They want to do it early and often. In this recent Weber State game, they had 3 guys go over 100 yards in the game. They rushed for over 350 yards. It was a pretty incredible on-the-ground performance from all of them. They've got a pretty soft schedule, all due respect, going forward. They've got games against Portland State, Eastern Washington. They've got this game coming up against Northern Colorado, which is not an easy game. I think the winner of that game should be ranked in the top 25 of the FCS. I think they've got something going. They brought in 75 transfers over the offseason. That's, it takes time to get those guys to gel. And I think that's true about the basketball team as well, right? This is a team that has been completely overhauled from a pretty disappointing season last season. And I think they're going to need a little bit more time to gel before we can really understand what they're going to be. But there's a lot of talent in that building. Jeremiah Cherry from UNLV is a hell of a player. Obviously, Mikey Williams, you saw that quote. Me and Chris and a couple of the other people on our staff, Zach and Eli, interviewed him. We got that quote. He's really excited about this season. Shaquille O'Neal can really fly. The clips from him at the Hornet Madness, the exhibition game, were pretty incredible. Guy I'd watch out for, though, is Prophet Johnson. He's a transfer guard from Fairfield. He's not getting as much attention because, Mikey's a big name. Shaquille O'Neal, that's another big name. But that guy can play. He was an all-team guy in his former conference at Fairfield, averaged double-digit points. He's a real hooper.
Jack, Dan, thank you so much. And then real quick, what were your thoughts, Jack, on the off-campus football stadium? You good with it? Would you rather something on campus?
I mean, I've been to San Diego State Stadium, the Snapdragon one. I think there's something really special about, regardless of the size of the stadium, having a stadium that's central to the campus, that's really accessible, really easy for the students to get to, is such a big deal. Obviously, if it's budgetary, you can get a big stadium. You can really go all out for a stadium. I think off campus is fine, but as a student, not as a journalist, not as a reporter, but as a student, having that kind of on-campus experience is, it's unmatched.
Jack, thank you so much for joining us, man. We appreciate you squeezing it in and taking the time. Enjoy your time in D.C. It is lovely out there. Let's do this again. This was a lot of fun. Let's do this again soon. We appreciate all your work. Be sure to follow Jack on social media, TikTok, X. If you are a fan of the Hornets, you got to check out the State Hornet, and also follow Play Vision AI as they are building the future of sports analytics, and join their newsletter. Jack, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again soon, man.
Absolutely. Happy to do it again.
That was great stuff from Jack. Dan, I told y'all he was going to come with it, and that's exactly what he did. All right, we're way over time, but I'm going to tell you right now, it was worth it. When we return, Shams giving a breakdown on who gave the green light to sign Russell Westbrook, and Kyle wants to get into part 2 of the Bill Simmons crushing the Kings rant. I don't know. I'm back in a good mood. Jack got me in a good mood. I don't know if I want to play it. I don't sound Sactown Sports.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides